So we have Akshita today. Akshita, I think, is joining for the first time.
Yeah, Shivani ji. The other day I just joined for a little bit at the last. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. Let's begin. Chanda, can we have recording started, right? So before we begin, like always, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the universe, to all the enlightened masters and who have guided humanity, to Brahmashri Pitama Patriji for bringing the wisdom of meditation into our lives, to the PSSM Australia team for this opportunity, and to the Anita Moorjani for courageously sharing her life journey through dying to be me. I also thank each one of you for being here with an open heart. May this discussion inspire us to live with more love and less fear. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to offer this through Inner Awakening with Shivani in collaboration with PSSM Australia. So we saw how Anita grew up, then her childhood, then her adulthood when there were matchmaking mishaps. And then now Anita found her true love. So it says this is about her finding a little happiness in her life, finding love, safety, and a deeper sense of connection, she said. A relationship enters Anita's life that brings support, warmth, and genuine companionship. So this is Anita. Next slide, please. So when love allows us to be ourselves, finding independence. After returning to Hong Kong, so we remember she ran away from her wedding, and she ran away to one of her friends. Now she returned home to Hong Kong. Anita no longer wanted to fit herself back into the Indian community where she had felt judged and misunderstood. Instead, she focused on building a career and gaining something she had always wanted, which was independence. She found a job with the French fashion accessory company. What excited her most was not the sales work itself, but the opportunity to travel, meet people, and become financially and socially independent. So, her main reason to get this job was that she was offered travel opportunities into nearby countries. Excuse me. Her father was proud of her, but even in that moment, he reminded her not to become too independent to marry. So until now, the father was upset of, doing traveling and photography and things like that. But now, because she has ran away, I guess he settled his expectations. So now he's okay with her to do the job and everything, but he wasn't he still doesn't want her to be too independent, so that again in their community that people don't like daughter-in-laws like that. So once again Anita was caught between two worlds. I want to become independent, and I must still fit the role expected of me. So, question to the audience, to you guys: have you ever achieved something that made you happy, but still felt that others were measuring your life by a completely different standard? Have you done anything in your life that you were very happy, but your parents disagree? They didn't want you to? You can use chats. No, no. Okay. No, no one. I think there must be someone like sometimes we take some subjects like I did. My parents wanted me to do science subject so that I can become doctor, if not doctor, at least engineer. But then I chose not to do science. So yeah. So it wasn't it was like What happened was I took science for +1 and +2 to make them happy. But then you know what I did? I stopped studying. I didn't study at all, just to take, because they pushed me to take the science subjects. I took the subjects, but I didn't study. So then, after when I have completed my +2, then I came back to the commerce and I started doing accounting and everything. So this is how I was. Well, coming back to Anita. In the meantime, her career at the French company had taken off, and her position required her to visit neighboring cities, as I told. Although still living at home with her parents in Hong Kong, the traveling allowed her a level of freedom and independence that she loved and appreciated, and it gave her the opportunity to meet all kinds of people from all walks of life. Slowly, she started to feel good about the life again. In fact, she felt happy, popular, and successful when she was outside the confines of her culture. Yet, she mentions inside one painful belief remained. Maybe there is still something wrong with me. So, like we said, that our we live our life based on our childhood traumas. So, this was her childhood trauma talking. Because of her broken engagement and because she did not fit the traditional image of a woman in her community, Anita continued to feel inadequate, almost as though she was flawed or damaged. And this is worth reflecting on. So sometimes our external life changes, but our inner story about ourselves does not. So, can we become successful on the outside and still secretly feel not good enough on the inside? Yes, we do, many times, isn't it? So, then the Denny appeared. In late 1992, Anita unexpectedly met Danny Moorjani through a mutual friend. The connection was immediate, and this is how Anita describes it. Later that night, when Naina and I walked into Club 97, a sophisticated bar and lounge in the heart of the city, I identified this man immediately, although I'd never met him before. There he was, standing casually by himself, dressed in a maroon, turtleneck sweater and black trousers. He looked over as we came through the entrance. And although he was there to meet Nana, I noticed that his gaze was following me every move as we walked toward him and sat down. Even as my friend greeted him, I saw that he didn't look away from me. And the moment his eyes met mine, a feeling of recognition seemed to burst through each of us. It felt as though we'd known each other forever, and the sensation was electrifying. I was well aware that he was feeling exactly the same way we started talking. We connected on so many levels, and by the end of evening, we had exchanged phone numbers. To my excitement, he called me the very next day, and we went out for dinner together. He was incredibly romantic, bringing me flowers and taking me to a lovely restaurant, Jimmy's Kitchen, which is still one of our favorites today. So she is describing a moment their eyes met as though there was some strange recognition between them, as if they already knew one another, and they quickly began spending more time together. Everything seemed to be going beautifully. But instead of feeling only excited, Anita became afraid. And she said, however, the more we were connecting over the weeks, the more I found myself pulling away because I didn't trust my instincts. So, what she said, I didn't trust my instincts. So, when I was, reading through this, This line reminded me of something that happened to me just on this Monday, and I want to share. So I was going through someone's house about an hour away from my house, and I was already running late. And I actually knew the general way to get there. I have taken that route million times, but I had Google Maps on, like we always do, as I was far, and it was for traffic conditions as well. So there were multiple routes to each to the destination, as it with any destination, right? Even we are in a habit of putting Google Maps so much, these days. So I did the same. I was rushing and there was a little bit of traffic. I was constantly looking for next instruction. So I made one mistake. I was about to change the lane, but I then came to the other side. Then I made another mistake. And eventually, in all that confusion and pressure, I jumped a red light on a major intersection and with some honks. And for Indian people who are joining, horns here is only when someone has made a mistake. Otherwise, we don't use horns here in Australia. So immediately afterwards, something struck me very strongly. I actually told myself, I actually felt I did not trust myself. I knew the routes, I knew where it will go, but I was keep on relying myself on the Google Maps to see the next move. And in that all that mistake, something bad could have happened. So I trusted the external instruction more than my own understanding. And that made me think about what Anita is saying here. Sometimes we may actually have an inner sense of what feels right, but we have become so accustomed to looking outside ourselves for directions, for approvals, for opinions, for reassurance that we begin doubting our own instincts. Is that right? Have you ever noticed that in any area of your life that you sometimes
Yes.
you know your gut feeling, but then you
Yes.
don't trust that. You do something else, isn't it?
Yes.
I was doing this, I think, whole my life. This is for the first time I actually instantly realized that I'm not trusting myself. I actually told myself that I'm not trusting. So perhaps the question is not whether we should ignore external guidance. No, we should not. Google Maps can certainly be useful,
And
but have
yep.
we become
Yep.
so independent on outside guidance that we no longer listen to ourselves? Perhaps this is the question we need to look inside. Coming back to Anita's story. However, the more we were connecting over the weeks, the more I found myself pulling away. Why? Why can anyone tell why this happened? Why she was pulling away?
Because she was scared from the past experience.
Yes. Because Danny was Sindhi, like previous boys, and then she felt that this Sindhi boy will be the same and will be the same cultural, traditional girl she might be looking, and hence she got scared. After her previous experience, Anita associated marriage within her culture and expectations, pressures, family obligation, and the possibility of once again losing her. So she feared that history might repeat itself. So sometimes fear does not say this is dangerous. Sometimes fear simply says this looks familiar. So where I'm connecting is when we are coming from childhood traumas. So then it is the familiarity that we feel between the incidents, that makes us fearful. So someone may have, fell from the roof and got a trauma of the heights. So the same incident may not happen in the future. However, we got the trauma, and that fear was why it is more fearful of the heights now, because that fear is familiar, right? So, but again, familiar also does not always mean the same. a battle between heart and mind. Danny did something very important for Anita. He did not pressure Anita. He gave her time. He listened. And as he came to know him better, he realized that he did not share many of the traditional expectations she feared. He liked her independence. He respected her opinions. He admired her dreams. And he did not ask her to become quieter, more obedient, more traditional, or more acceptable. For the first time, Anita felt that a man genuinely liked her for who she already was. She describes it as a battle between her heart and her mind. Her mind remembered the past and said, "Be careful." Her heart experienced Danny and said, "This feels different." So some spiritual teaching describe love and fear as two fundamental forces behind many of our emotions. So they say there are only two bases of all emotions, regardless anger, sadness, whatever it is, but they are coming from either love or fear. Like means if you go deep, 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 deep down and you start diagnosing, in the end, you will either get fear or you will get love. So, whether or not we see every emotion that way, fear itself is not necessarily negative. Who agrees with me?
Yes.
Yes. And why
Yes.
do you think that
It,
fear
like
is
it,
not negative?
not always, because suppose you are going out and you fear you'd get wet, then you'll carry an umbrella with you.
Yes. Yes. So, thank you for saying this. It is wonderful, Nilamaji. Yes, fear is protective.
Protector.
It protects us. The difficulty begins when fear becomes so strong that instead of protecting our life, it starts controlling our life.
Yes.
Then the fear is bad. So, how do we know when fear is protecting us and when fear is preventing us from receiving something beautiful? So, this is not always easy to know. And fear is simply, the one way to know is, for example, healthy fear is there may be a danger, pay attention. Fear driven living is something might go wrong, so I won't truly live. So there is a rain outside is a healthy fear. Let's carry umbrella. So I cannot go outside whatsoever because it might rain is a fear driven living. Am I making sense? So please understand, do not hate fear. Fear is a good thing. However, we need to start differentiating between healthy fear and fear-driven living. Slide 2, please, Chandra. Waiting for the flaws to be found. Even though Danny accepted her, Anita still expected something to go wrong. The childhood trauma. She kept thinking, eventually he will discover what is wrong with me. She expected that once he knew the real Anita, he would become disappointed. But that moment never came. Denny remained consistent. The qualities that other people had criticized in Anita, her independence, strong opinions, dreams, and refused to blindly confirm, were qualities Denny actually loved. And this leads to a very interesting question. So, to you, why is it sometimes easier for us to believe criticism than love? Why is it always easier for us to believe something will go wrong than something will go right? So someone tells us you're very difficult, we will carry it for 20 years,
Very
right?
true.
Someone has said one line and you won't let it go out of your mind. It will keep on, going on a cycle, right? If someone says you, I love you exactly you are, and we ask, are you sure?
Yes, doubt.
Did you mean that? Yes, Papri. Give me one quick moment. Yes, sorry, Papri.
Yeah, I was about to ask, as you mentioned that if someone tells any negative or positive word or sentence to you, it 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 may affect your health, mental state or mental health. So how to come out from from that loop? If you keep still thinking on the same loop, but let's suppose someone makes a bad remark towards me, then how to go out from that zone?
Okay. For this, there is a story of Buddha Papri, and I'll try to make it easier to understand. So there was a one person came to Buddha, and he was
Mm-hmm.
very angry on Buddha for some reason. And then he came and he started saying foul words to Buddha. And
Mm-hmm.
Buddha kept listening, and he went on for maybe, you know, some long, and Buddha didn't say a word. Buddha smiled, gave him blessings, and moved away. So the disciple who was, looking at the whole scenario, he asked Buddha that he said so many things to you, so many bad names to you, so many bad things to you. And why did you give him blessing? So Buddha said that
I have.
a gift is only mine when I took it. Until I take that gift, it's not mine. It's theirs only. So if someone is saying bad thing to you, first of all, it is them. It is not you. It is coming from their inside. Whatever is inside will come outside. So if it is coming something bad, so that means it's in their inside. And second thing is it is completely up to you how if you want to absorb it or not absorb it. And I understand it's very easy to say to not absorb it, but because
Yeah.
we're human and we
Yeah.
take things, but then for we need to bring a lot of self-love. As we bring the self-love in our life, and for this we did a book last year, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And that book is all about self-love. And we discuss all these things in that book is when we have less or no self-love, that's why other people things affect us so much. And it is also about our conditioning and our childhood traumas as well. So when someone is saying something to you, depending what they are saying, sometimes the childhood trauma has been triggered. So the impact of that thing will depend upon your childhood experiences, what you have, learned, your belief system. There are a lot of things involved, but on a bigger picture, just try not to take it personally and just think that, what was inside has come out. It is nothing to do with you. This is the only thing I can say at the moment. But yes, we can discuss it more in more detail about the self-love and I'll help you out. Yeah?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No
Yeah.
worries. Thank you. So the past she was afraid to reveal. One evening, while walking with Jenny along Deepwater Bay, Anita finally asked whether he knew about her broken engagement. She was nervous, very nervous. She feared that perhaps, sorry. So she feared that perhaps one Danny knew what had happened and what the community had said about her, he might see it differently. Danny told her that he already knew, thanks to the community. And joking about community gossip, he said the story he had heard had probably been considerably seasoned along the way. So they had put more seasoning to her broken engagement. Then Anita asked, "How did you feel about me when you found out?" and Danny's answer completely surprised her. His reaction was essentially, "This is exactly the kind of woman I would want to marry. Someone who has a mind of her own." Think about that. The very quality Anita had been made to feel ashamed of was the quality Danny admired. And yes, the chapati came back. Anita jokingly asked Danny whether he was therefore not attracted to her for the chapati making skills. So Anita actually asked this, that you were not attracted because of chapati making skills she had. Danny replied, sorry, something in the throat today. Danny replied that he could make a pretty good chapati himself and could manage the windows, bathrooms, and laundry. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's happening today. At last, Anita had found someone who was not interviewing her for the position of perfect traditional wife. They laughed together, and then right there on the beach, Danny asked her to marry her, sorry. So this time Anita knew this was not "I should marry him," this was "I want to marry him." So the difference is enormous. So how different does a decision feel when it comes from a genuine choice rather than expectation? Isn't it? It's a difference that you can really feel and tell. Externally, both decisions may look exactly the same, but internally, one feels obligation and one feels like freedom. And that freedom brings you happiness and joy. Slide 3, Chandra, please. Love and loss arrive together. Only 2 months after Danny proposed, Anita received devastating news. Her father had died in the sleep while in India. He had been unwell, but Anita had expected him to recover and return for her wedding. He had wanted so deeply to see her married. And now, when she had finally found the man she truly wanted to marry, her father would not be there. At the river where the family scattered his ashes, Anita apologized inwardly for any pain she may have caused him and grieved that he would never see her wedding. This part of the story is emotionally complex, and relationships are complex. Her relationship with her father had contained of fear, restriction, disagreement, and cultural conflict. But underneath all of that, there was also a deep love. So we carry some emotions side by side. So we sometimes completely disagree with someone without denying the love that exists between the two people. A bittersweet wedding. The months that followed contained both grief and celebration. The family mourned Anita's father while simultaneously prepare for the wedding. The preparations also gave Anita's mother something joyful to focus on during an extremely painful period. Finally, on 6th December 1995, Anita married Danny in an elaborate Indian wedding in Hong Kong. The celebration lasted almost a week. They chose a venue overlooking Deep Water Bay, the same beach where Danny had proposed. Interestingly, Anita had initially liked the idea of getting married directly on the beach until she imagined all the women trying to walk across the sandal in high heels. Even spirituality has to negotiate with footwear occasionally, isn't it? So during the ceremony, Anita and Danny walked 7 times around the sacred fire while their vows were chanted in Sanskrit. Her mother and brother deeply felt her father's absence. There was happiness, there was grief, there was celebration, there was loss. So how this is, it's telling how at some point of time, both emotions go hand in hand, all existing together. And when everything was over, Anita felt certain Danny was the man she wanted to spend her life with. So, what is this chapter really about? At first glance, this chapter is simply a love story, right? As the titles say, a love story. But underneath, it's really about acceptance. In the previous chapter, Anita tried to change herself in order to be loved. With Danny, something completely different happened. She was loved without having to become someone else. Previously, it was hide your independence. With Danny, it was I love your independence. Previously, it was you have too much of mind of your own. And with Danny, this is exactly he admired about her. Previously, it was like become more acceptable. With Danny, it is like be yourself. So the interesting part here is who is not changed? Who is not changed here? Anita. Anita didn't change. Anita was the same. The environment around her changed, right? So there were different people who she was trying to match, and Danny let her be herself. So perhaps the deepest messages of this chapter is the right relationship may not ask us to become somebody different. It may give us enough safety to finally become more fully who we already are. So if anyone is looking for a relationship, ask yourself this question. Are they letting you yourself, or are they trying for you to become something else? So before asking whether others truly accept me, have I given myself enough safety to fully accept myself? So I'll repeat that, then I'll ask a question. Before asking whether others truly accept me, have I given myself enough safety to fully accept myself? So, can someone please explain what does this line mean? Have I given myself enough safety to fully accept myself?
Am I looking for validation from outside? Or,
Yeah,
yeah, am I trying to be good or like any other quality according to others' perspective
yeah,
and curbing my uh, inner feeling or inner voice?
yes,
Curbing my, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's also just a small thing like giving time to yourself.
Yes.
Yes. I'll give you a small example. I'm moving to some other area, and the place I'm living, I was living here for 16 years. So I had connections, I had friends and everyone, right? So when I told one of my close friend that I am leaving, she cried. And I felt loved, and I said, we'll meet. I'll come and see you. And just before this meeting, I was having dinner with her. So what I did, I took out time to make her happy and make her feel special. But do we give this time to ourselves? If I was upset on something, would I have
Yes.
given a time out to myself, went for a coffee or a dinner outside with myself to spend time with myself? Do we do that? No. We ignore. We completely ignore us.
I have started doing.
Yes, if you have started doing it, that's
Yes.
wonderful, Nilimaji. We all should do it. And what I started with is drinking a coffee. Whenever I
Yes.
go to a mall alone for something and I'll see a
Same here.
coffee shop, I make sure I sit for 5 minutes and at least drink a coffee there. It is just a beginning because we do not know how to give safety to us. We do
Yes.
not know how to give time to ourselves. Yes, we are doing book reading, we are doing everything, but are we spending, this is a different kind of experience. So, safety is basically sitting with yourself and then trying to make yourself happy, or even if you're feeling some emotions, let them flow. And this is part of self love. Just let them go. And eventually you will start your own company rather than going to someone else, because no one else can understand you better the way you can understand. But again, we look for external validation, external, people come and, love us. We need love from others. So all this will subsidize and we will slowly come into self love. So with this, I'll end this chapter, and we are open for any question answers.
Like what Anita did, it needs lots of courage.
Yes, yes. I think it was an ordinary life all Indian girls or all Indian boys have in one or the other way. But then I think this book is telling us how to go deeper inside us. On the top, it is ordinary life for everyone. It is like this is what actually her message is. She had an ordinary life like everyone, and from outside it wasn't that bad. If you look a bigger picture, it wasn't that bad. Her parents had money, she wasn't poor, it was all health. Some people, struggle with health. She had health. Otherwise, late until the later in the years, and she had good British school, good schooling, good friends. Everything was normal as we wanted, on a bigger picture. But this is the way we can go inside and look into our lives and try to amend it from now.
But she was a soul for an example. Like she
Yes,
was not an ordinary soul.
yes, yes. Anyone else would like to share any experience, any thoughts, any questions, please? If not, then we are ready for meditation, and it will go until 6 a.m. It's a new moon today. So Chandra will play a music and it will please stay until 6 a.m. if you would like to. Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good.